and then right
Okay,
click
we're
on
starting
me.
again. Let's not make it too technically crazy.
Oh, no, easy. I can stop recording.
No, I'm not going to stop recording.
So you can edit the video.
Hold it, please, Luke. This is my channel.
Okay.
This is Angie Power Disney, AngelaSCashes.org. This is Luke McKee, an Australian in exile, one of the top international whistleblowers in the world. I'm going to just give him permission to record and share screen. So participants, invite. Well, you're already in. It says there's 3 participants. So is Brian there? Waiting room. He's here. I've just admitted Brian. Now, I just don't know how to tell you how... you'll have to instruct me how to give you permission to record.
Yes. On the bottom of your screen,
okay,
click on participants. I'm not seeing Brian in yet.
Well, I just admitted him.
Next to my name, there should be a more button. You press that, and you can say grant permission to record and share screen.
Right, well, I've clicked, okay.
And try again to admit Brian.
Oh, I've done it twice. Right, participants, it just says now it's gone down to 2 again. When I click participants, it only gives me an option to invite. So...
that's at the bottom of the screen. On my name, click on the more button on me.
Your name's
or
on
right click on me or whatever.
Yeah, more, that's on the top right. Right, allow to record local files. Allow to multi-pin. Right, I'm going to just say allowed to record local files. Is that good enough?
Yeah, allowed to record.
Okay. Right.
Okay, and also, are you giving me share screen permission?
Share screen. Multiple participants can share screen. There you go. Right, so this is Luke McKee from Australia. He's been, I watched an interview of his with Revolut, which is a tiny channel. I've seen him interact with Brian Hurle and Tom Carhill, and I've interacted with him on WhatsApp, and am absolutely in awe of the work he's done. It's not just Australia. The OTO is global, and the various agendas that are being rolled out are global. They're international. So we need to stop acting like, oh, that's Australia, it doesn't affect me, or that's Canada, that's far away, or whatever. This is an international issue. So over to you, Luke. I'm going to give you the floor.
Okay. First of all, I primarily consider myself to be a researcher.
Okay.
Most of the stuff I have published is damning, but it's open source intelligence. Now, at this stage in my life, I don't want to be a prima donna. I've done some pretty amazing things behind the scenes, from getting North Korea to attack Justice Kirby and their state media, to getting Russia back into the Olympics by exposing the gay judge from in charge of the World Anti-Doping Agency, Justice James Woods, and giving the Russians a document that was given to me from someone we both know, a mutual contact that we worry about his welfare, naming the leaked from the Royal Commission, naming Henry Dean Chisholm Thomas as a child abuse victim of Justice James Woods. I gave that to the Russian Anti-Doping Agency, and they got re-admitted to the Olympics. And America Uncovered YouTube channel was asking the question, how did that happen? Well, you know my 2 cents. So I can't believe I'm playing with such powers, trying to bring them down, and I'm just one man. And after a decade of activism, my family life is suffering. The only reason I'm here now is to hand over my research. Some of it is on Telegram, and there's also the Victims of Gay Bullying and Johnson Hole's old blog site. But if people went digging, they can see the contributions I've made. It may not be presented the best, but the research is solid. We need better activists than me.
Okay, I need to hold you off a second. First of all, people like yourself, myself, and others that keep trying to retire and just give the gift of the research to somebody else, for most people it's too hot to handle. Secondly, for YouTube purposes, even though I can't premiere this until Tuesday or Wednesday, but for YouTube purposes, we're not anti any group. We are just anti people that hurt children. That is our sole mutual meeting ground. Whether they are part of an agenda, you know, there are many agendas, social engineering since World War II. It may be a gay agenda, it may be a Zionist agenda, it may be this, that, and the other. We're not racist or anti-Semitic or blah, blah, blah. We're simply against adults hurting children. End of. Right, carry on.
Me personally,
Yeah.
I am a controversial figure, and I, unfortunately, personally, don't subscribe to that. My Telegram group is all about exposing an axis of evil that I call the Kabbalah axis of evil.
Okay.
There are three main groups that are normalizing pedophilia and are most successful doing it.
Yeah.
And they all have that one thing in common. And I'm 90% of Jewish people are fine, who are not in Orthodox Jewry, which has a doctrine of doing an oral sex act on babies, called mitzvah b'peh in Hebrew.
Yeah.
If they are allowed to do that,
others
are allowed to normalize pedophilia. Just 2 days ago, if you go to the front page of Band.video, or whatever they're calling it now, from Alex Jones, who is intelligence, the Stratfor emails, we've all seen them, you'll see that there's a professor in New York that just came out defending the right of grandmas to do oral fellatio on babies to calm them down, and said it's completely natural to have sex with a child. And obviously
let's just, because this is so important, screen share. Can you share shit as we go along?
Okay. Yes, I will share my screen. I'll just share my whole screen. Okay, why not? You can. Okay, so I'll just go to my Telegram. Okay, and so those are some images which I was going to refer to in this call, and everything I say comes from research. So that video I just spoke of is right here, loading on my screen.
Okay.
MSM promotes the rape of 1-year-old babies. Okay, so that's Alex Jones. Why not have Fox News? Okay, SUNY professor under review for supporting pedophilia. So obviously it's wrong for a gay professor. It's New York Post saying the same thing right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So
just hold on. This is so important, this screen sharing, because when people like you and I get online and say stuff, we get written off as tinfoil hat, conspiracy theorists, lunatics. So when you share these articles, even if people just take a screenshot, they know that these are facts.
Yeah. Who's that guy? I don't know him.
Oh God, Michael Portillo.
Is he Irish?
No, he's UK. Very good friends with Ian Puddick. Very good friends with what's that other guy? You know, the guy that wrote that his best friend got raped at 9 by a priest and said it did him no harm. What's his name? Michael Portillo, and the other guy's. It'll come to me. The other name.
Okay. So I've just opened up my email on the screen. Okay.
Yeah.
And I made claims in my last interview that I was predicting large numbers of Canadian women would be raped for gay pride if Trudeau in Canada acted as an autocrat. And personally, after being challenged in a pre-approved question on CBC TV from a fat ex-military officer in a dress, to make a policy to put chicks with dicks in women's jail, that exactly the same thing would happen in Canada's closest diplomatic ally, who tried the same policy that would
Yeah, there was
lead to the
disastrous.
rape of
Okay.
was publicly rolled back within 3 months
Okay,
with
I
the
need to
media
hold you
scandal.
here. I'm trying to help make
Yeah.
this go out to as many people as possible. So, sorry, we should give a trigger warning. This is probably adult content and some of it is shocking, but it's educational and it's crucial. And the thing that is being covered up, which Luke has forensic proof of, and I'll talk about that later, but transgender people who are men identifying as women in some countries, including Australia and Canada,
And England.
oh God, and England, were allowed into female prisons, and there were multiple rapes by these males identifying as females in female prisons. And there was a gagging order put on this so that the public would not know that. So it happened first in Australia, which is like a petri dish. It's a colony. It's where they try out the experiments, and then they go to Canada and England and Ireland and so on and so forth. Now Luke, when he saw these things happening in places like Australia and took first-hand testimonies from victims, he tried to blow the whistle and say, please don't put transgender people in female prisons because there's a lot of rapes happening. And he identified that a certain corrupt person in a position of power and influence actually appealed for rapists in prison to come forward and volunteer to identify as transgender females to be placed in female prisons to commit rapes. Now the question I have for you, Luke, is if it's why would the gay agenda want to commit rapes on females? Is that a ritual? I don't understand that.
Well, you're going to say stuff that's going to, this is not going to go on YouTube. It's going to go on other websites if you want to continue this
Try and tell
conversation.
me in code. Try and tell me.
Okay, well, in the deleted posts, okay, on victims of gay bullying that's in my archive, I was able to obtain the memorandum from the American Psychiatric Society during the time of the DSM-2 and the DSM-3.
I just want to turn the heater off. I've just realised I've got a sound interference.
Yeah, that there was never a vote of all the general members of the American Psychiatric Society, which is required to remove a mental illness from the diagnostic and statistical manual. So it could be argued in court that homosexuality is still a mental illness. And I have got press releases in my archive. In fact, if you want me, I can actually go dig up these documents since I've met them. It's in my VGB archive of deleted content from my old blog, victimsofgaybullying.wordpress.com. This particular one wasn't saved by archive.is/victimsofgaybullying.wordpress.com. But yeah, I've got the documents, and I promise the next 48 hours to add these documents to my Telegram group from the American Psychiatric Society, where they put out a notice to all their members saying, yeah, just because, to correct the media, just because one committee that got stacked by a bunch of gay psychiatrists decided to recommend removing homosexuality doesn't mean it's happened, because we have to vote on it, and that's our procedure. There never was a vote for gay pride. So
okay.
when law and justice, gay pride is used as, okay, if you're gay and you're angry at me now, right? You go, Luke McKee's saying I have a mental illness, well, whatever. I'm exposing that pedophiles have hijacked the gay lobby
there you go.
and are using the gay agenda to cover up rapes of women and children.
Absolutely. Now I need to say something. Let me just, it's my turn. Since 1978, when I started university in Warwick, which was a petri dish of social engineering experiments United Nations, etc. I started studying lesbian and gay people. I shared a cottage for 2 years with 2 lesbians, and I went to all the sort of, you know, I'll survive. You know, I did the circuit. I wasn't lesbian, but I thought they were lovely roommates, and I went around with them. And I also met a lot of gay men. And as I told you, my first marriage was to a gay man. My assistant is gay and married. So it's not about, and I've said this in interviews before, it's not about that we're attacking people. We're trying to, my experience is child sexual abuse survivors often are groomed into identifying as gay to normalize what happened to them.
The best rant
Yeah.
on this is from Sam Hyde, the comedian.
Okay.
He just went to see a bunch of leftists. Actually, I'll find the video. I'll pull it up.
All right.
Okay. He just went to he and a bunch of in front of a bunch of leftists decided to troll them and film them all walking out and getting angry when he dropped some actual facts.
Yeah.
And there's the video, a mirror of it there, and I put it on my BitChute channel. Can you see him there talking to all these leftists in a stand-up comedy bar?
I'm just going to move our pictures because they're in the way.
Now he's more extreme than me. He says 50% of over half of all gays have abused a child. That's his belief. Okay,
I don't know if that's true, but I know that since starting to observe it in 1978, very closely, like including marrying a gay guy and whatever, I would say 90% of the gay or lesbian people I've met were child sexual abuse survivors. And I totally agree that the gay agenda has been hijacked by the paedophile agenda. But I want to add one proviso. I had a daycare in California for 3 years, and I had about 24 children enrolled at any one time. And there was one little boy, and I took children from very young, and it seemed to be I have to say, it seemed to be genetic with him. He just, I don't know if it's estrogen in the water or the GMO foods or vaccines. I don't know, but I know that he was very effeminate from a year old. So I do admit that there are some intersex people that are born with both, you know, hermaphrodites. I do admit that there's a tiny, tiny percentage that have had some interference and they're genetically born gay, but I think 90% are survivors that got
1%.
Through.
Now, a gay psychiatrist has said in Scientific American, human sexuality is malleable. Okay, right? So if he's basically saying that children can get their sexual identity messed up through child abuse. That's what he's saying. Okay?
Absolutely, 100%.
So now, and then you look at the statistics for the homosexual community, like the Kirby Institute in Australia says over 80% of all AIDS cases comes from gay men doing their thing. Would you want to put your children into that high-risk group? Now, I'm just trying to go to the part of this document. I've been scrolling down. I'm trying to find, oh God, I must have skipped it, 202 pages. Well, if you go in there, it says if you identify as a woman, you are a woman. So in my last interview you talk about on Resolute TV, which is on my BitChute channel, I talked about the head of the Anti-Discrimination Board writing a paper called Race to the Headlines. You see this document? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, Anti-Discrimination Board, Racism and the Media Discourse.
Okay.
And he said it is racist to be against racist rapists of white women that make racial slurs as they rape white women, because it's racist to be against racists. So in England, you've got Tommy Robinson and the Muslim grooming gangs, but we couldn't have that in Australia because our media was told they would be prosecuted if they covered the gang rapes of women.
Women.
Because it's racist to be against gang rapes.
I recently saw a report in America where a woman had signed an agreement. It's like a prenup, only she signed a contract with her partner not to disparage each other's reputations. But then he raped her, and it had to go to the Supreme Court because he was saying that by her reporting the rape, she was breaching the non-disparagement contract. And so instead of her getting justice for being raped, he was going to sue her for breaking the non-disparagement contract between them.
Yeah. So another thing, a man in Australia has been referred to the Supreme Court for serious homosexual vilification, and the case has been sitting on hold for 4 years because they're too scared to follow through.
Yeah.
They just did it for the headlines in the gay newspaper. It's like, you're being accused by the government, you're going to face trial, but we are never going to trial you because you would kick our expletive deleted in court, and we will just let this drop off the radar. Just like Terry Bean's trial for child rape. If you go to Wikipedia and look at Terry Bean, they deleted the key fact that his partner, Kyle Lawson, was convicted of raping the same boy, and he testified Terry Bean was in the book, that Terry Bean had a go at it too. So that's been removed. There was never a trial, and for the second time, the witness was disappeared. And you know what? I called up Sean Riddell, the lawyer for Terry Bean, founder of America's largest gay rights charity, as a victim, and said, you know, there's people in Australia being prosecuted, and the police officer investigating Terry Bean was just fired for misgendering a transgender Antifa terrorist who burnt down the police union headquarters. That word salad is entirely true, and I exposed that on my last interview with Professor James Fetzer with screen sharing going through it. That is how much of a clown world we are in. And he didn't even misgender the tranny Antifa terrorist to his face. He misgendered an Antifa terrorist who burnt down the police union and was out of jail again and again and again in Portland.
So a transgender person under Antifa burns down the police station, but the cop gets done for calling he or she or she or he.
Not to the transgender's face, but to two fellow junior officers in the police station who ratted him in. So the police officer investigating Terry Bean for child rape gets punished with for that minuscule thing. And we had to retire early to try and save his pension. But someone who rapes a child gets no trial for gay pride.
I think we've actually reached a stage where people need to stop trying to protect their pension, their job, their mortgage. I think it's getting to a life or death situation, in my personal opinion. And COVID, the C word, has sharpened people's perception that life is a very tenuous thing and eternity is much more important. So people that are protecting their job or their pension or their reputation, I think it's time to stop. And that brings me back. I don't know if we're going to go off track because I could talk to you for days. That brings me back to Brian Hurle. It's time to stand and deliver. Can we talk a little bit about Puddick and Simon Tomlin?
Okay. I've got a whole bunch of links to go through. That's why I'm sharing my screen. But just as a last thing, I've exposed in that last interview that the first transgender in Australia got $20,000 for a sex change after allegedly AIDS raping 5 women. One of them did a DNA test, police interview, and filed charges. but was expelled from Australia for gay pride. And Australia, I forgot to say in my last interview, has a material witness extradition treaty, as they do in America. So the excuse for this guy not being prosecuted for rape doesn't compute. We can't, oh, the victim was deported by us to New Zealand, so we can't try the rapist for gay pride.
That
doesn't
was so
work.
clever. That was so clever, wasn't it?
People, we have a formal way of forcing the victim on a plane from New Zealand to put this transsexual murderer, Mr. Noel Crompton Hall.
Yeah.
Oh, was that a dead name? Yeah. Sorry. In jail for AIDS raping 5 women. Now, the mainstream news only once said that I wasn't joking about the transgender having AIDS and the victims not being told. Now, he allegedly got a sex change for $20,000, but here he is here with his penis intact, having romantic relationships with women and not telling them about the AIDS he has in the mainstream news.
Okay, I've done as much different area, but deep research as you. Yeah. So the only question I have is, if he was having sexual relationships with 5 women, but he'd claimed he'd had his penis removed in a $20,000 surgery paid for by the taxpayer. But the only question I have is, what if he used a strap-on? Sorry. I'm sorry, Luke. I'm sorry.
I'm not going to keep that conversation going.
Carry on.
So, yeah, we'll be going all over the place right now. I'm just telling you a few key facts I left out in my last interview that impressed me to speak with you further.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do no detraction. Everything I say is true. And I am getting frustrated with humanity.
Yeah.
Like, my activism failed, right? I contacted all the Canadian members of parliament, right? I said, don't do this or your woman will be raped. Yeah. And they went ahead anyway. So if you're watching my videos and stuff, stop being passive. Yeah. I'm banned from social media everywhere. Why don't you take my videos, put them on Twitter, contact all the trans TERF feminists in Canada and say, let's get a class action going to sue the man most responsible for those women's rape. Yeah. Transgender people currently have a mental illness according to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, okay? If they're in jail, they're obviously mentally messed up, okay? And they should not have their XY chromosomes and their penises in a female prison.
I agree.
So the person most responsible for the rape that you would hope have his mental faculties is the Prime Minister of Canada. Only one person is responsible for putting those messed up transsexuals in a Canadian prison, is Trudeau. There should be a civil liability class action lawsuit prosecuting Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada,
who's also
for complicity for damages from every one of those 40 rapes in Canadians' jail that happened after I predicted it would happen.
I agree, and you forewarned them, and they went ahead and did it anyway, and I'm not justifying it in any way, but Justin Trudeau / Castro is like a 2nd or 3rd generation MK Ultra puppet. We need to go for the people behind the curtain.
Yes. There's always people behind the curtain. It's like a pyramid. My life story is me slowly going up the pillars, becoming less profane, as those OTO people say. First, I thought I was framed by an illegal immigrant because of feminism. Then I discovered that the 2 officers sent to my house were gay cops. Then I thought, oh, the gays are after me, these special gay police, right? Then I found out the special gay police, higher up the pyramid, were founded by the Ordo Templi Orientis pedophile cult through Dr. Gregory John Tillett If you want to see the proof for that, I can go to my dossier.
Share screen, go for it.
Okay.
This is huge. This is huge.
This is the gays formally asking Parliament in Australia to legalise sex with children.
Yes.
Yeah, stop gay public. This submission was blocked for gay pride, but the Sydney Beat Project that campaigns for decriminalise gay public sex with children was allowed to make a submission to the same inquiry. So if you fight to when I say sex with children, I'm only mildly exaggerating.
Yeah.
They want to have sex in public places like the Amsterdam model. They're claiming it's happening in Holland, but they're telling lies to Parliament. You can't bonk on the street in front of the police station in Holland.
In Ireland, it's called dogging.
Yes.
And where I live, one of the sites on my estate was listed all over the internet as a dogging site, and the other one was the car park of the Catholic Church. Dogging sites where people can have sex in front of other people.
Well, gays call it beats, okay? And the group that was asked Parliament to legalise sex with children, that is in the New South Wales Anti-Discrimination Board annual report, the same institution that sued my dad for homosexually vilifying Mark Newton and Peter Trong. I'll come back to it in just a second. I'll just quickly show down everything I say is true, okay? Yeah. Here is this website, Pride History. They had to remove David Battelle as a queer hero from their website. I can send you a dossier proving that it used to be online. Here we go. That's Dr. Gregory John Tillett writing the history of the OTO in Australia, and that's his old postal address, okay, at the University of Sydney. He worked for the Anti-Discrimination Board. He made these homosexual vilification laws, which are being used in practice to normalise pedophilia by making it a crime to vilify a pedophile who identifies as gay.
Yes.
Okay, yes. So
just for the international audience, the European audience, the OTO, Ordo Templari Orientis, is international, and for those in the UK and this part of the world, the most famous way you'll remember that is the daughter of Sir Bob Geldof joined the OTO, got a tattoo, put it up on Instagram, and then outed the baby rapist Ian Watkins of the band Lost Prophets, who was getting his fans to give them his babies to rape.
Absolutely correct.
She named them, and 10 days later she was dead.
And they used the same argument that the prosecutors on Twitter said, you're not allowed to name a pedophile, mothers who supply children to a pedophile, because that identifies the children, and you're going to be prosecuted soon. And then she's dead. Now get this, the Australian government prosecutes people for the hate crime of calling the OTO a satanic sex cult or a sex cult. What does the Guardian newspaper call the OTO? Read the headline from theguardian.com.
Signed up to Aleister Crowley's sex cult, OTO. Wow. Wow.
Wow. So, and it's also in other newspapers. So this is the PhD thesis for the OTO cult member who founded the Special Gay Police, according to the gays' very own pridehistory.org.au. And he's now talking about Aleister Crowley's mate, or at one time at least a mate, C.W. Leadbeater, getting off child rape charges by the police that didn't follow through in Australia. So we have a PhD in New South Wales Police, child sex cover-ups, founding the Special Gay Police.
Okay, and I just want to say something about Ireland. I'm Anglo-Irish and I've lived in Ireland on and off since 1981. We had a gay Prime Minister, Taoiseach we call it, Leo Varadkar. We have a gay children's minister, Roderick O'Gorman, great friends with Peter Tatchell, that's the name I was trying to remember, and Michael Portillo, the one who wrote in a book, one of the two wrote in a book, My Friend Had Sex with a Priest at 9, it didn't him, no harm at all. And they've recently appointed in Ireland a minister for gay rights.
Well, Bernard Gaynor, many of the blog posts on Bernard Gaynor's blog, many of them, has ancestry in my emails or my pre-activism published before him. For example, one day after the other McCain, I don't bluff, the other McCain, see if we can auto-complete this. Australian gay marriage activist was FBI child porn fugitive. And then there we go, okay. I'm credited by name as the researcher in the article.
Well done.
Okay.
Well done.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm all there in the comments. Okay. Let's find Luke here. Luke. There you go. Luke McKee and my old censored Twitter account.
That's great. That's
okay.
Great.
One day later, okay, we go to bernardgaynor.com.au/happy. Okay. You've got see what these pedophiles do is they link themselves to gay rights.
Yes.
And when I expose this, gays attack me and want to say, I've only found 2 gays in my life that acted as an ally to help me get information and fight this. And most gays will say, you're homophobic to be against the rape of children. And when you've got the guy who wrote the book on gay marriage for Australian marriage equality, Christopher, everything I said in my last interview, I've got the sources for it. Now, you know, that's the mayor of Brisbane's wife with an FBI child porn fugitive.
Oh God.
Selling slurp marriage equality tea. Now, everything you saw in my interview last time goes deeper. And I mentioned the name Ben Bajarison, head of the Special Gay Police in Queensland, who I mentioned is friends with Michael O'Brien. I have screenshots of him talking with Michael O'Brien when Michael O'Brien and his partner were embroiled in a child rape case. So the rest of the police go, we think you're pedophiles, you rape kids, but I'm the head of the gay police and you're still my friends. I'm friends with pedo cops. I'm Huffington Post queer hero spokesman.
Yes.
They don't like their idols being taken down. You've got LGBT Youth Scotland in English schools was founded by Jason Rennie. To this day, this corporation founded by Jason Rennie, who pays his pension to this day, is defended by the gay lobby. Pink News Media in the United Kingdom says, and this is my Telegram group. In fact, while I do it, I'll just search for it. I'll just search for there's a text search feature in my Telegram group, okay? Search message in my group. I'm going to type Pink News, okay? Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's my rant about it on my Telegram group. Okay, so let's compare 2 articles I'm going to open. One is from Pink News, okay? And, okay, so the former head of Scottish LGBT youth charity, which is in schools now, pushing every gay charity is linked to pedophilia. HRC, the Matinee Society, LGBT Youth Scotland. Gregory Tillett from the OTO I was just mentioned was the president of the AIDS Council of New South Wales. Okay.
Okay. Let me just say one thing, because you said you've met maybe 2 gay people that have been your allies, and I just have to say that I have a gay assistant for 1.5 years probably, and right from the get-go, when he said I'm gay and I'm married, my husband's 20 years older, and we love each other, blah blah blah, I made a video for him, and I said, I'm so grateful for you volunteering, but I need to let you know my views on this agenda. And he agreed to work for me for virtually nothing, knowing what I said. And he agreed. He's a survivor and so on and so forth. And I also know an intersex person, hermaphrodite, born with, both, a womb and this, that, and the other. And I sent the same video to him. And I said, you say some good stuff, but you need to know this is where I stand. I don't want to be a hypocrite and pretend that I think it's normal what's going on. So there are many gay and lesbian people that realise they're in a matrix and they somehow got victimised.
Yeah. Now, let me continue. Can you read that quote highlighted in pink? Now, I didn't choose the colour scheme. The gays chose the colour scheme on my screen now.
I can't see anything highlighted in pink.
I'll zoom in. I'll zoom in. There we go.
So I mean, look, Lothian and Borders Police have been clear that their investigations
in pink.
Well, I can't see any pink on my screen.
Okay, well, I've highlighted it. It's a second paragraph you can see.
He even used a computer. Give me a clue.
Okay, there is no suggestion that James Rennie did or had any opportunity to threaten the safety of young people.
Right, yeah, got it. That there is no suggestion that James Rennie did or had the opportunity to threaten the safety of young people accessing services at his work is due to the culture. Wait a minute, you went a bit. You moved it then.
Yeah. Due to the culture of child protection at LGBT Youth Scotland. Okay. Now, their culture. Now, do you have a culture of child protection if your office computers at LGBT Youth Scotland are being used to distribute child porn? They left out that key point.
Yeah.
Boom. Here's the mainstream news from Scotland.
Scottish paedophile. Oh, it's gone.
Okay, sorry, hold on. Let me find it, okay?
Scottish paedophile child ring, 8 men.
Let me just find the key part. Read the last sentence. He even used a computer link at LGBT Scotland Centre in Leith to distribute and access child porn.
And local to me, a girl that went to school with my daughter married a school teacher. Turned out he was at school accessing vast amounts of child pornography and he was about to be exposed. So what he did was he murdered my daughter's school friend, his wife, and their children, and then shot himself and thought that was a job well done. All because he was a school teacher with vast amounts of child porn on his computer 7 miles down the road from me. This is everywhere, Luke. It's everywhere.
Okay. So remember I talked about in my last interview that the head of the gay lobby who wrote the book on gay marriage, Christopher Puplik, he also, this is in addition to the last interview, he went to a 1996 pedophilia conference by the Australian Institute of Criminology. And he didn't think in the future there'd be such thing as a Google search index. And he's just talking to all of his elite mates and he thought it would never be dug up, right? So here we go. Here's all the different, here's the Australian Institute of Criminology paper. They took this down from their website because of me and I had to fight with them to put it back up. Okay. I don't know if it's online anymore, but what's Chris Puplik's bio? Christopher Puplik is the president of the ADB, chair of the Privacy Committee. He's also president of the Australian National Council on AIDS and Related Diseases, who ordered an AIDS-infested tranny into a woman's prison and facilitated 5 gay pride AIDS rapes that he personally covered up. So he's personally responsible for causing an AIDS cluster in a woman's prison and enabling sex in women's prison. And this guy is on $400,000 from the Administrative Appeals Tribunal doing with immigration matters. And we all saw how wonderful that tribunal was dealing with Djokovic. Okay.
Djokovic. You didn't answer my question. Why would gay people want to rape women? I want to understand that.
Because homosexuality does not have love. It's a power dynamic.
Okay.
The top and the bottom, the sodomized and the one who is being sodomized.
Okay.
They do not. They can't. That's why they don't have. Most homosexuals don't have. Sam Hyde said it correctly, and it's true. You won't find many heterosexuals that's had more than 20 sexual partners. you won't find many homosexuals that have had less than 200.
Yeah, I totally agree. Not that I know personally, but I've known a lot of gay people, and I agree.
So let's scroll down.
Yeah,
let's scroll down and read from the highest paid gay public servant in Australia, who's the head of Justice Health,
right,
dealing with mental inmates health, okay, for the prisons. So it was his department that got the rape victim out of the country to cover it up. Let me just show you the case law. Everything I said on the interview I can prove. Let's just scroll down and let's find the paper. I've got the direct one, but I'm just going to scroll down and find the one from Christopher Putlick.
Yeah.
You know, these are all from barristers.
Yeah.
We're just scrolling down. You know, they're all talking about pedophilia at this old conference. And while I'm doing that, tell everyone about what we talked about before the show about Dr. Rena Mickelson and her involvement in the Woodrow Commission.
I'm an MK Ultra survivor. My father was in the Royal Air Force for 25 years. He was born in 1945, he joined the British Royal Air Force for 25 years, and pretty quickly he was recruited, you know, having already been raped and sodomized and brutalized by the Christian Brothers. He was recruited and volunteered his wife and ensuing children into projects, a little bit like Joseph Mengele stuff, right? So
I give up. I'll just open the individual
file.
All right, well, here we go. Here it is.
Anyway, okay. Don't squash me. Let me just say a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So my mother and my sisters and I, in the military, were subjected to projects, and the first 8 years of my life, I still only have fractured memories. I'm trying to recover them fully. But I started disclosing. I came online around 2008-9, and I started disclosing. And Rena Mickelson and Fiona Barnett quickly contacted me by email. And Fiona Barnett said, "Oh, it's so good to meet a fellow survivor, and so much of our story, you know, lines up, and the German background, and the Nazis, and the programs, and so on." And Rena Mickelson approached me like a Christian, which I thought she was a good Christian lady, and I'm a born-again Christian. So I thought, oh, I've got some allies here. But because Disney is my name, married and divorced, you know, I was MK Ultra, but they thought I was a certain kind of person, and I wasn't. So after I backed Fiona Barnett for years, I started an audio reading of her book.
Not Fiona, Dr. Rena Mickelson.
Okay, Rena Mickelson, I didn't get to know very intimately.
Fiona is an OTO shill. I've debunked her in many ways.
Which is heartbreaking. Yeah. And the other thing my audience needs to know is Steve McMurray, the researcher on a par with, or, you know, with Luke, who accidentally validated Fiona Barnett, because a lot of what she said was true. But I started to get red flags with Fiona Barnett when I found out her solicitor was Stephen Biss, who was also the solicitor for Robert David Steele, whose wife Tanya used to run around the Cicada 3301 people and drop $500 super chats, and was kind of like there was some weird stuff going on. And then Isaac Cappy, as eccentric as he was, went and stayed with Fiona for a month, and he came back and he said she's telling lies.
Let me be specific.
Okay, go ahead.
I said there was a name of a lawyer that runs all the refugee processing centre. That's the High Court judge for Nauru in the last interview.
All right.
And I was awake for 24 hours and I just rode a motorbike 200 kilometres. His name is ianfreckleton.com.au.
Okay.
And he's the guy that wrote in the New Zealand Law Reform. I gave a source in my last interview. We had to look it up anyway.
Okay.
So all these leftists go protesting every week. Let's close down the Pacific Final Solution. Let's close down all the refugee processing centre. The whole legal framework to process refugees offshore. But the Bar Society says we've got a clean slate in Nauru. We can make up the laws and all the precedents, legal precedents as we go along. The person who made those legal precedents was the lawyer for the OTO child sex cult, which is responsible for, he brags on his resume about sending people to jail without trial, without appearing in court, he brags about human rights abuse on his resume. That's who set up the whole legal framework.
The judiciary is totally corrupt. And there's a brilliant guy, a veteran, called Will Bird, and he was trying to debunk how can there be all this child abuse and trafficking going on, because 1 in 20 families would have to have a child kidnapped within your close circle for their figures to stack up. They don't understand. You only have to have a war in Syria, an earthquake in Haiti, or a charity in Africa, or whatever, arts in embassies where you can ship them under diplomatic immunity and the freight cannot be inspected. It's child trafficking. It's international. They find the children.
Yeah. Now, I found a table of people who made submissions to the Wood-Royal Commission.
Okay.
And Public made 3 or 4 submissions, which are still classified. Okay.
Yeah.
But Public takes credit for getting his Commission Watch Gay Task Force to stop the Wood-Royal Commission investigating a boy brothel, because homosexuality is inclusive of boy brothels, and we can't have the big gay witch hunt. This is the guy who wrote the book on gay marriage. This is the pinnacle of the gay mafia in Australia. Why aren't there any gays calling him out on this?
I want to give you a parallel. There's a gay presenter in England on television, Philip Schofield, and he presented to our Prime Minister at that time, David Cameron, a list of VIP paedophiles in our Parliament. And David Cameron responded, "We cannot have a gay witch hunt."
Oh, that's where he took this line from.
It's like, fuck's sake.
I remember that. I don't have to Google that because I remember that.
Who said paedophiles? Why are you saying gay? You know. Now
I got my Telegram group here. Okay, so when I was saying about actually, if I told what you have to do, let's not use search. Let's go to my group, and you've got different pinned messages. Okay, so let's go through the pinned messages quickly. There's only 38 of them now. Let's go through all the pinned messages in my Telegram group. And remember, I said, but I just accused the head of the whole Olympics drug testing person to be a compromised gay pedophile judge from Australia, and named his rape victim.
Yeah.
Let's show the document. Show us the proof.
Look, I just want to hold you a second, because I want to interview you many times, but I don't want to go over an hour. Yeah. And we said we were going to ask Brian Hurle to stand and deliver. Yeah. So I know your research is amazing, and I'll put the links in my description, and we'll do this as a live premiere. But I do want you to please focus on Ian Puddick, Simon Tomlin, and Brian Hurle for the last 10 minutes. And I won't say a word.
Can we let Brian in here and we'll go through it all together?
Absolutely. I admitted him. Let's go off screen share.
You click on participants and try and admit him, or make me host. And
okay, Luke, no, I think he's gone. I admitted him twice. I think he's gone.
He never.
I can make you host. Right. Stop screen sharing and I'll make you host.
Okay.
This has been brilliant. Right, so Luke M. Moore. Sorry, I got bad eyesight. Make host. There you go. Do you want to change the host to Luke M? Yes. Now you invite Brian.
Okay. Well,
I doubt it.
I'll pick up my phone and say join now. I'm a host.
Yes.
Yeah, join now. I'm host.
And we're not his enemy.
Yeah. Okay, so the whole thing, him getting the name Simon Tomlin, as the story goes, comes from me. He claims that someone dumped a whole bunch of printouts from deleted tweets used in legal action, possibly coming from Puddick's beard wife. Okay. or Simon or someone else dropped something in his letterbox.
Yeah.
And
he does think it's Puddick's wife. He does.
Yeah, be it the poor woman. So I went backwards from this tweet to see if this tweet really existed. And the tweet was trying to claim that this character on Twitter was claiming that Pudik was the Mr. Leakbusters was the guy who. This is all hearsay, and we're going into the hearsay zone now.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm not normally dealing in hearsay, but sometimes hearsay can turn into something very, very big.
Yes.
Now, I pulled at that thread with just some images to go on. He sent me of what was dumped in his letterbox. And that thread showed a former police prosecutor turned judge in England had sentenced a book publisher who writes books about corruption to jail without trial, jailing him in absentia. And I have only ever seen that happen once before in Australia, and it was linked to the OTO. So this is OTO. It looks like a real OTO power move linked to Pudik, and Pudik sued Simon Tomlin, and the mainstream news deleted all the articles about him being sent to jail.
I didn't know that.
Well, if you check your mail, you now have all the links now. So let me go to my sent items. Okay. Here you go. Here's the research links I gave Brian about Simon Tomlin on January the 15th this year.
Don't show my email.
Oh, okay. Oh, too late. Don't worry. Okay. We've got nothing to hide.
No, we haven't. Nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. So I went, this is how me forwarding links as it started, okay? So this was the first thing that I found. I think it's here as well. Oh, another thing, Brian Hurle has been caught telling fibs.
Porkies, yeah.
Here's one porky. I told him that I knew, you'll see this in my only interview I did on this channel, that this character here, I got kicked off Twitter because he was threatening to bash a English journalist, and he was stalking the Pope all day on Twitter as a militant atheist. And he tried to put an arrest warrant on me for complaining about gay dads on Twitter, Barry Druitt-Barlow, who had a long-running vendetta with Caroline Farrow, who was jailed for misgendering a transgender. This is the gay mafia. So this guy here retired at the end of 2017 and never rose above the rank of sergeant. He used to be Land Perry on Twitter, and the last thing he said was, "Luke McKee is dangerous. He obtains personal information. And I'm a political refugee from Australia, wanted for Australia's rarest crime, 60C New South Wales Crimes Act, obtain true personal information on corrupt law enforcement officer." So I'm like, guilty as charged, gay cop.
Yeah, man.
So this guy, I sent MP3s of him basically threatening me with arrest. I called up because gay dads on Twitter was operating an illegal surrogacy business and breaching many articles of the UK Surrogacy Arrangement Act 1985. Okay. Yeah. And on top of that, he just went on LinkedIn. Well, I've got stories published about him on the on Robert Stacey McCain, Luke McKee site.
Don't sidetrack. We need to stay on Brian Hurle, Simon Tomlin, Ian Pudik.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Brian Hurle claimed that he was. I'm not signing up. Go away. What? I have another copy of it open. Okay.
You're not screen sharing.
Oh, I'm not screen sharing? Okay.
No, I don't want you to at the moment because I want us to stay focused. I just want to say, when Brian Hurle rang me for an hour yesterday, he said that Ian Pudik is putting it abroad on Twitter that myself and Brian Hurle are having an affair between Essex and Ireland, and Ian Pudik said that I'm harbouring a violent psychopath in my home. So Ian Pudik should be done over and over and over again for defamation. but I can't be bothered. I just can't be bothered.
Low hanging fruit.
No
Now,
hanging fruit. Yeah.
I've had hit pieces on me saying I am not an Australian citizen.
You're from Mars.
Well, I'm a dual national with New Zealand, but I only got that passport after I started an investigation into my brother's death, and I thought it would go places. So, as an insurance, I thought I would get a passport, and from another country, and that passport saved my life. The New Zealand one, it was pulled out of my underwear when I was being escorted on the plane allegedly to New Zealand by a public security bureau officer, and I had to change flights in Hong Kong, and I left the toilet block and pulled out my other passport and went through customs in Hong Kong.
That sounds awfully. The thing that worries me is that sounds like Snowden. Do you know what I mean?
That was an extraordinary rendition attempt.
Yeah.
After in Hong Kong, I was calling up Dragonair and said, who paid cash for this? Who paid for this plane ticket? And it was paid for in cash. Is that a normal extradition procedure from China?
No, it's not.
It's so the Australia. I burnt my Australian passport at the embassy in 2009. My dad's East Timorese activist buddy put it on his YouTube channel. It's still there. Burnpassport.mp4. Google that. You'll see me, a younger me. And I only named one person when I burnt that video. I burnt my passport. And he was the General Counsel for New South Wales Police, which was trying to remove me from the internet just before they tried to remove me from this world. And after less than 2 months after, this guy, no one had ever heard of him before. He had practically no web presence. 2 months after, Sydney Morning Herald, fear, top New South Wales police lawyer attacked because of his work, bashed with baseball bats, walking home at Springfield Station. So I have friends in high and low places in my activism. But that's pretty incredible, isn't it?
Incredible. I don't think Snowden was a hero, and I don't believe his story of he got like waylaid in Hong Kong and ended up in Russia.
Going to Hong Kong I didn't go there by choice. I was a pit stop on a failed extraordinary rendition attempt.
Okay.
And in Hong Kong, when I found out from Hong Kong Christian Action, the main charity for refugees, earlier in this broadcast when I shared my screen, you saw my name on UNHCR letterhead in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I was never going to. I had to fight with them to get back my New Zealand passport, right, on the last day of my legitimate visa in Hong Kong, because they wanted me to hand it to them.
Yeah.
And refugees in Hong Kong, it's the only place in the world where the UN bureaucracy has total determination, total control of the whole. Hong Kong's just outsourced it to the Hong Kong government, outsourced it to the UN bureaucrats.
Okay.
And because of that, when you go on top of a government car park in Kowloon that they've leased to the UNHCR, there's a sign on the wall that says you do not have to have sex with with UNHCR officials to get your humanitarian visa, because that's what they were doing. The men have to be involved with crime, dealing drugs, and the women refugees have to sell their bodies because there's no oversight. Absolute power corrupts.
I just want to show this. I didn't take it off yet. This is my hospital, label, because trolls will say I lied about being in hospital, whatever. I want to make this not too long because cognitive dissonance, people just get overwhelmed.
People don't believe that Hong Kong's worse than Gitmo, and they've been throwing refugees in jail for 20 years without charge there. Yeah. And it's being admitted to on the Hong Kong government website. That's why I got out.
Do you know a well-kept secret? Ireland pretends to be neutral and very leprechaun and friendly, but we were refueling planes, taking people to Gitmo to be tortured at Shannon Airport. Do you know what I mean? And Ireland is the best kept secret. But anyway, I want to give you 5 more minutes to wind up. Puddick, Brian Hurle, Simon Tomlin, and then we'll do a part 2, I promise.
Okay. So quickly, Brian Hurle said this guy was a big inspector in, I know him, he's a big inspector in Malden Police now. He's rose up the ranks. And at the time he said that was only August last year or whenever, recently.
Wow.
So he told that fib. Okay. I finally, so let's go to the other, these are some tweets. The deleted accounts was Simon Tomlin at News Alliance. He used to have, News Alliance has been taken by someone else now, okay? Someone else has taken it, but this was from Simon Tomlin, a debate between Puddick. And Puddick is just... Puddick, yeah. So Puddick got the police to go after this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, and I sent you a bunch of links regarding what happened. So I found this Blogspot article first, which is a picture of Simon.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. And you know, Puddick has Puddick has a gay Jew activist friend working with him, going after Tom knows his name. I'm not expert.
Puddick runs a load of goons on YouTube. He runs loads of them.
Yeah, one of his extremist gay Jew Jews runs this website. Yeah. So
welcome Cyber Psycho. Fucking hell. Excuse my language.
Yeah, it's all shut down anyway.
Oh god.
Wait. So let me just go through all the research links. Anyway, so here's where it gets really interesting. The UK government jailed Simon Tomlin, found him guilty in absentia.
Right.
And so here's Simon Tomlin's Vimeo channel. Okay, which was removed from all the Google indexes. Another thing that the OTO has the power to do. Now, let me just find the mainstream news articles about this. Where's the name of the judge? Here we go. So here's the news articles. Okay.
Right.
This is the archive of the Eastwood Advertiser. Internet troll sent to prison. And the mainstream news doxed his grandmother's house and published his mother's address too.
Yeah. Do you remember that Madeleine McCann troll that was doorstepped by Sky TV and she committed suicide allegedly? Listen, Luke, we've done amazing. I don't want to overwhelm people. I just have one final question. Of the 4 possibilities, is Brian Hurle a fantasist? Is Brian Hurle an agent, intelligence? Is he an asset? Or is he, I don't know the 4th possibility. Please give me your final word.
Okay, no. Brian Hurle is claiming that he has paid a private investigator to follow Puddick, and he has in his possession film of him sexually assaulting a boy in a car.
Okay.
He claims that Ian Puddick, this is all hearsay, I don't vouch for any of it, but he shouldn't be sitting on it if it's true.
Yeah.
He claims that Ian Puddick went to a SRA event at a lodge in France.
Yes.
At the Chateau de Tofu. Okay. Yeah. And he claims that his mate in the security industry received a payment in the form of a company check signed by a David Bottrell, Bottrell.
Yes.
David Bottrell in Australia, the head of the OTO child sex cult. I was told by that great researcher on par with me, who's MIA, who gave me the leaked documents from the Royal Commission, which are authentic because I verified them and called up the people named in it.
Stephen
McMurray. He told me that David Bottrell, through Facebook, has a brother in France called John Bottrell. Okay. That blog this is the family crest of David Bottrell's family, okay? And the King of the Toads, right? And the spelling of his family surname in France, the royal name that he's inherited from France,
Yep.
from his family, used to be called Bottrell.
Yes.
Now, that information was known to me,
Yep.
Tom Cahill,
Yes.
and intelligence services who read my Hotmail.
And that's
that
all.
information. Tom may have told Brian,
but this was only told to Tom 8 years ago. So
Yeah.
I doubt that Tom memorized that. I don't know. Maybe he did.
So either that information is incredibly rare occult knowledge about the. Then he sent this image and said the security guy took a photo of the altar in the chateau.
God.
Altar.
I think Brian sent that to me.
It gets better. I went digging, and I was searching Black Mass, Gnostic Mass,
Yeah.
and I went through Google image search, and I found that exact same candlestick linked to a Gnostic church in France, as in the Gnostic Catholic Mass, as in OTO, Knights Templar links and stuff. And then that shortly after, that image was removed from from the internet.
And as I told you before we started recording, I've been in touch with Brian for a couple of years. We've fallen out. One of the reasons we fell out was because he told me categorically he had DVD evidence of a cult leader and a ritual and 2 children, the children identifiable, the father identifiable, and he promised to deliver me that evidence. I arranged with the chief of police in Ireland, because I didn't want to view it. I arranged for it to be delivered to the police to be analysed and verified by the professionals. I arranged for my assistant to meet him in Romford. Brian was a no-show. I arranged for Brian to come and stay. I got the guest room ready. I turned family away. He was a no-show. I arranged for the delivery of the evidence to the representative of the chief of police in Ireland. He was a no-show. So I've been there with the no-show of the evidence.
He promised if I went on his show, he would give me the video of footage and he would get a copy. And he told me that his security mate's coming over with another version of the check to take a better photo. But I would have thought the check would have been cashed by now.
Yeah, and, but a wise person would photograph the check. I do.
Well, yeah, give a better photo, and I think, you think that there's one of 2 possibilities, 2 most likely possibilities out of the 4, is that one, he is a fantasist, or he is an asset of intelligence that has concocted a story which will be incredibly intriguing to me by including this occult knowledge of the OTO,
the exact name,
and linking David Bottrell to SRA rituals in France. David Bottrell, as you know, is trying to jail my mate John Christopher Sonhol right now for contempt of court for religious vilification of a cult who has a forensically proven doctrine of blood drinking and child orgies. If you go into my Telegram group,
let me say this, because this is so crucial. The ritual that Brian told you he has photographic evidence of, and you just shared some of it, and I think he sent me that too. I don't remember the timeline. I have DID, I'm a survivor, but he did say to me about 9 months ago or a year ago, there's a big ritual, 3-day ritual going down in Paris, Angie. Will you cover it? I've got 2 security men allocated. There's an outer ring of security, a middle range, and an inner circle. But he said, I've got 2 guys at the ritual. Will you cover it? And for whatever reason, I think I said I've got enough on my plate. I'm trying to cover Ireland, England. I'm persecuted, targeted, and I didn't take the bait. But I'm saying that to me gives some credibility. When he says to you, the ritual in Paris did take place, and I got a couple of photos. So I think he does have some serious I do think he's got some information. And my appeal to you, Brian, because you know I'm fond of you, my appeal to you is shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
Give the information. If you're not willing, if you're going to bargain with it, like you said on a live stream recently, oh, I'm going to do deals with my intel. Well, shame on you. Shame.
Yeah. Why would you go after low-hanging fruit internet trolls to blackmail the authorities to go after them to protect MI5 Puddick, assuming he is MI5?
Well,
why would you put your own personal ego, if he is telling the truth,
I think he is,
above shutting down a cult that is sexually abusing children in black? If you go to Wikipedia, okay, and you just type black mass, okay, right?
No, let's not digress anymore. We're bang on target.
Yeah.
If he's got the intel, don't use it to get off 10 charges and go to Marbella. You will never have a peaceful night's sleep for the rest of your life, Brian, if you know there are rituals going on where children are being raped and murdered, and you are using that as a bargaining chip to go to Porto Banús, then you have to live with your conscience for the rest of your life. And I think we need to end it there. Just give me a closing.
Last thing. Okay. I do not bluff. Just give me a few seconds.
Okay.
To find a certain pin message. Okay, here we go. This here is on my right-hand side of the screen. It's a collection of
I hope to God we're recording. Just for my paranoia, are we still recording?
No, you stopped it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wait, let me check. I'm screen recording. I don't know. Are you still recording?
I think so. I
hope you are.
If you stop screen, I think we are. I'm just being paranoid. Just finish up. Give me your final thoughts.
Here is, on the left-hand side of the screen, is the black mass linked to the Knights Templar. Okay, so look at the little baby upside down in the black mass, the naked woman on the stage, the priest about to do the thing. That's from Wikipedia Black Mass. That's a 16th century linograph about what they were doing. And in this century, here is the head of the OTO in America, Frater Siberius X, David Shriven. Okay, I've told you I've got him on there is the video of him on camera, admitted when he was younger, on this date in 1995, admitting they drink human blood, and they're jailing people in Australia. This here is a Gnostic Catholic Mass of the OTO. Notice that this person's child's face was edited out by the OTO. That is Gladdy McMurtry, a big figure in the OTO, and that's children watching the Gnostic Catholic Mass. If you go to Vimeo, Gnostic Mass, this is the OTO's own video on the Gnostic Catholic Mass. Okay, you may have to turn up the mature filter to see it. You will see, oh my God, wait. There you go. What is the difference between this picture and this picture of a black mass?
All right, I'm a survivor, and I've reached my limit. I couldn't sleep for hours last night, Luke. We have to close.
Well, I'll stop sharing the screen for your benefit. I'm not joking. That is the kind of people Brian Hurle is protecting by not standing and delivering. He may think he's a victim, but I am. The people who have the greatest victim status are the children involved with this pedophile cult protected by our governments. Stand and deliver for the children, Brian.
Yeah. Sorry.
Or he's either making up false, trying to set us up for a defamation lawsuit from the OTO for making claims we can't prove. We want to prove it. Give us the evidence.
Yeah. Okay. I think that was the most inspiring interview I've ever done, and I pray to God we do part 2. Don't be like that, Luke, please.
I think this interview is horrible. It's
I just need you to know, I need people to know you are in exile.
Yeah.
Yes. And you are constantly, wondering why you're still alive.
Yeah.
So please don't underestimate. I'm not flattering you, right? I'm just saying thank you for your service to humanity.
And I hope there's some activists out there with better presentation and video editing skills than both of us that can help take our research and use it to get something done. Because in my case, I don't make up stuff. It's all the claims I make are evidence-based.
And I think you're, again, yes, if we want some fancy documentary makers to put some music and blah blah, but I think we did amazing, and I want to thank you. And I'm a bit traumatized and triggered, but that's okay. I'll get over it. Thank you so much, and let's talk again. And please upload this anywhere you want. Anybody that wants to mirror this, go ahead. And if you send me your links for how people can contact you, I'll put them in the description. I can't premiere this till Wednesday because I've got a 2-week ban on YouTube.
Just use my Telegram group, t.me/deep state pedo hunters. Don't worry, only I can post in there now because, of course, the gays had to spam it with child porn. So it is locked down. And if you don't join the off-topic group, I can guarantee you won't see anything more disturbing than what you just saw.
And I just have to ask you, why do you think this was a horrible interview?
Well,
keep it brief.
Simple people. I mean, we're talking stuff that's happening behind the scenes, internet dramas. For people walking into this cold, they don't walk the road we have walked. They maybe can't even relate to this.
That's why I kept stopping you and saying Peaches Geldof, David Cameron, Philip Schofield. That's why I kept anchoring it in Europe, so people would think this is not just an Australian stroke.
It's not we're not talking about a pedophile ring. We are talking about the pedophile ring.
Amen.
Hillary Clinton, Jay-Z, and Jay-Z doing concerts for her. They're both OTOs. Spirit cooking. The phrase spirit cooking was invented when the head of the OTO says we have to cook the blood now, not drink raw human blood because of the AIDS virus. Now, what animals get AIDS?
No, let's not digress. We've done
humans and monkeys. Are they drinking monkey blood or human blood? Yeah. Tell me.
I think the spirit cooking goes back further. But look, let's leave on a high. We did brilliant, and let's do it again. God bless you.
Okay, bye.
Love you. Thank you. I don't love you, but that's just thank you.